Hello friends, I welcome you all to this class. This is real analysis class, and today we'll be solving this example 2 under this topic, the absolute value. And this example, we are required to show that for all a, b elements of real numbers, the absolute value of a minus absolute value of b will be less than or equal to absolute value of a minus b. So we want to show that this inequality will hold for any two given real numbers. So let's start the proof of this uh, inequality. So we are going to write this. We need to get a minus b inside this absolute value, and we want to get this quantity also. So we are going to write, let's write absolute value of a as absolute value of a minus b plus b. So because a is same thing as a minus b plus b, do you understand it? Then we can use triangle inequality. This will be less than or equal to absolute value of the first quantity a minus b plus absolute value of the second quantity b. So this implies we can move this positive absolute value of b to the left hand side. We are going to get, we have absolute value of a already at the left. So if we move positive absolute value of b to the left, it should change to negative. We have negative absolute value of b. Then we have less than or equal to, what we have at the right now is this quantity absolute value of a minus b. So this, we can call this equation 1. Then let's do the same thing for b. Absolute value of b is same thing as absolute value of b minus a plus a. So since b is same thing as b minus a plus a, so this will be less than or equal to absolute value of the first quantity. First quantity is, we are using triangle inequality now. This will be less than or equal to the absolute value of the first quantity b minus a plus absolute value of the second quantity a. So this is what we got. This implies absolute value of b, which we'll have at the left, less than or equal to absolute value of, we need the absolute value of a minus b. We are having absolute value of b minus a, but absolute value of a minus b is same thing as absolute value of b minus a. Absolute value of 2 minus 3 is same thing as absolute value of 3 minus 2. They are both the same thing. So this absolute value of b minus a is same thing as absolute value of a minus b. So we are going to write this as absolute value of a minus b. Then plus, we have, what we have here is absolute value of what? A. This is what we have. Then another thing we are going to do is to move this positive absolute value of a to the what? To the left hand side. So this implies absolute value of b minus absolute value of a less than or equal to absolute value of a minus b. So this is what we have. If we move this positive absolute value of a to the to the left hand side, this is what we are going to get. Then let's, in this proof, what is inside this main absolute value is absolute value of a minus absolute value of b. But what we got at the left hand side is absolute value of b minus absolute value of a. So we want to get absolute value of a minus absolute value of b. But if you multiply this by negative 1, we are going to get that. So multiply both sides by negative 1. This implies, if you multiply this by negative 1, we'll have absolute value of a minus absolute value of b. Then this inequality will change from less than or equal to greater than or equal to. Then we'll have negative absolute value of a minus b. So I'll multiply this side by negative 1, multiply this side by negative 1. So we now get this. Then we can call this one equation 2. Then from equation 1 and equation 2, from equation 1 and equation 2, we will get, so let's combine the two equations. So equation 1 is saying that absolute value of a minus b is greater than or equal to absolute value of a minus absolute value of b. Equation 2 is saying that absolute value of a minus absolute value of b is greater than or equal to negative of absolute value of a minus b. So let's start from here first. We have absolute value from equation 1. We have absolute value of a minus b, right? Then we have this less than or equal to. What's the next thing you have here? You have absolute value of a minus absolute value of b. That's the next thing we have, right? I'm following this first inequality. That's equation 1. Then this is what we have in equation 1. Then if you continue it here, joining it with equation 2. So the equation 2 is saying that this quantity, absolute value of a minus b, is greater than or equal to negative of absolute value of a minus b. This is what we have. With this, we have combined the two inequalities. So let me write it properly. This is less than or equal to absolute value of a minus negative absolute value of a minus b. So with this, we have combined the two inequalities. So, but in our previous video, I told you that absolute value of x less than a positive quantity epsilon simply means that x is lying between negative epsilon and positive epsilon. So this is what I told you in our previous video. So if x is lying between negative epsilon and positive epsilon, where epsilon is any positive real number, if x is lying between negative epsilon and positive epsilon, then it means that this inequality we have here will hold. Absolute value of x will be less than, or you can have less than, or you can have less than or equal to. The same thing holds. Will be less than or equal to this epsilon. So this x is just representing anything, any quantity you have inside the absolute value. So any quantity can be inside this absolute value. So comparing this now, if you watch this closely, absolute value of a minus b is what is a positive quantity. Absolute value is always positive. So absolute value of a minus b will give a positive quantity. It can act as our what? Epsilon. So we have that positive quantity here, we have negative of it, we have something inside. So we have something at the middle. This quantity at the middle, which is absolute value of a minus b, is acting as our x here. So this quantity is lying between positive epsilon and negative epsilon, where this epsilon is this positive quantity, absolute value of a minus b. So because of that, this inequality will hold. So we are going to put what is at the middle. We are going to put absolute value on what is at the middle. So as we have here. So this simply implies that what? This simply implies that absolute value of this middle quantity of absolute value of a minus b will be less than or equal to this positive quantity, which we refer to as epsilon here. So with this, we have completed the proof of this question. Thank you so much for being part of this video. To receive more videos, it is very important that you subscribe to the channel so that you always be part of the class. Thank you.